Peace, brothers and sisters. How are you? This is Yasha been this real back at you one more again. Yes, sir. I was sitting around here this evening, bored, didn't have anything to do. I'm like, man, what can I do? And I'm like, man, you done forgot all about your YouTube audience. You got a whole YouTube audience over there with 2,500 subscribers. Man, go over there and talk to your peoples. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm back here tonight, man, just chilling. And so I'm here. I'm here to talk to y'all, chill with y'all, spend a little time with y'all. And on this night, I was just out here thinking, just thinking earlier today about the Puff Daddy case and the 50 Cent documentary. And I wish I had somebody to talk to on the night. And I do. I got 2,500 people in the world of people that this video can just get out to. I can share my thoughts with. Now, this Puff Daddy situation is something. It is a tangly web that Puff Daddy has found himself in. Oh, what a tangly web we weave when we practice or conspire to deceive. Puff Daddy. Today it just did me when I was reading. What this is maybe the first week of the introduction of the documentary 50 Cent has released. I've been silent on the situation. I spoke on it maybe a year or two ago, and I left it alone. Uh, so, you got Puff Daddy's mom, who was very instrumental in Puff Daddy's life. She's going to be instrumental, I believe, in putting together and dealing. She's going to be the mouthpiece for Puffy. The hard part about that is Diddy's mother is old. That is an old lady. I mean, you talk about a lady that's in their 80s, maybe even 90s. That's a very old lady. That's a very old lady. She looks good. She looks good for her age. I'm talking about that lady is very old. And she don't have that much time on this planet. It would be a miracle by God himself, or maybe even a blessing of the devil. It's going to take a great power to for that lady to outlive Puffy's sentencing, unless Puffy can get out of there somehow on good time early. Being that Puffy has money, if he focused on the right things, he could get himself up out of there early. Puffy has a squeaky clean record. And if he stay up out of the bull crap and quit trying to manipulate and riffraff, just sit down, get himself in order, he's going to need that. Then, and that's what he needs to focus on, trying to get up out of there early on good time, right? That should be his first priority. And in acting that out and living that out, then he work on other ways of trying to fight his case, because you always got to fight your case while you're in jail. You want to get up out of there. I'm talking about the future of this situation that this documentary has caused. Okay, and Puffy's case. It's about his case and 50's documentary. Being that Puff Daddy's mother is old, she's up there at the age where, again, that Puffy she could die while Puffy's in prison. And we talk about if natural causes. We're not talking about if nobody poisoning her. The stress factor. This lady, she's from the hood, so she dealt with the passing of her husband. So this lady here, she's cut from that cloth. I don't think that the stress of the situation is enough to put her away. If it was, it would have done that by now. That is a tough cookie. So the stress of the situation is not going to do it. She could just possibly leave just simply because of old age. And that's going to open up a can of worms if that happens for Puffy, because there's no one out there that he can really trust with the wisdom, the charisma, and the aptitude and the fortitude to be able to pull off what is needed to be the backbone for Puffy while he's in this predicament. Okay. And now that he's in this predicament, his mother is trying to both of them, Puffy and his mother, I've seen today, are trying to find several ways of suing uh not Puff Daddy, 50 Cent, and I can't think of the lady's name, but the co-producer, because the co-producer said really 50 Cent is just the face of the product, and he really doesn't have much to do with the product. The problem is that most of the product is up under other people's jurisdiction. 50 Cent mostly is just he's not the company. He is just the face of the company. So 50 Cent himself is not going to get sued, you know. And therefore 50, he's not trying to get any money out of it either. You know, the people who are making the video is trying to get some money out of it. Right. 50 Cent said that this video is not a revenge video, and that he is concerned for the artists and all of the people that people like Puff Daddy and people of power have exploited over the years. That sounds very, very good, right? Very good, right? Sounds very, very good. But all of this stuff that these brothers are doing, both Puff Daddy and 50 Cent, are feeding into the breaking of the oath that these men had taken. And I think that they're both trotting on dangerous territory, because I believe that 50 Cent, not 50 Cent, that Puff Daddy is being whooped and beaten and spanked by the powers that be, by the Illuminati, the headquarters, the elite. Okay, and their secrets of power that has been exposed by way of 50 Cent, this documentary, and just the whole spectacle surrounding Sean Puff Daddy Combs. You see? And it has exposed the secret power cabal and their tools and instruments of power. And because it has done that, Puff Daddy has to be spanked, because none of the RICO charges, basically, the government just found a way to spank him for having a fun fest sexual encounter crossing state lines and stuff like that, and sending people across state lines for sex, which is stuff that a lot of people do unto their benoist all the time. Something just they used to get and spank a Puff Daddy with. Uh, if 50 Cent was really concerned about the well-being of the others, then 50 Cent would not stop at Puff Daddy, and he would go all the way up the ladder chain to Puff Daddy. Now we know that there's people in the elite that are protecting people up the chain. And it's been put out there and it has been said, it has been documented. But that has nothing to do with 50 Cent. 50 Cent has to go, if he wants to protect the people, it didn't start with Puff Daddy. He has to go all the way up to Clive Davis. Clive Davis is the muscle behind all of this. He is the cleanup man behind all of this. So 50, if he's really telling the truth about the well-being of the people and he's trying to stop that, it's still going to go on because Clive Davis is alive. And all of the people that Clive Davis have groomed over the last 50, 60 years. Okay? So Puff Daddy is getting a lawsuit. I think they said he's suing for $1 billion. You know, the danger in that is that while Puff Daddy is in prison, all of his business, all of his financial business is being exposed all around the world, which means that all that stuff is going to leak back to him being in prison. And Puff Daddy really needs to be looking forward to getting off into protective custody because you got to understand that Puff Daddy is in prison. And his money can only save him in prison if he knows how to spend that money. He's going to have to protect and not protect. He's going to have to take care of a lot of people in jail. Basically, he's going to have to buy protection. And he has enough money. He's one of the more richest men in the world. Puff Daddy has enough money to make his whole rock happy the whole 10 years, that he's in the penitentiary. And then doing that, Puffy can stay in general population. But if Puff Daddy is being stingy inside of that penitentiary, and people gonna love him if he took care of them. He'll develop a new fan base and everything. He'll be like a god in there if he did that. But if he's in there being stingy and not generous, not looking out for people, not taking care of people, then Puff Daddy, you got to look forward to Puff Daddy getting stabbed up to shaped up because that's what people do when they're in prison. They in there, they can't work, they can't really support themselves and take care of themselves. So you hearing about Puff Daddy is already one of the richest men in the world, and he's suing for $1 billion. God forbid that if he wins, that he's going to have to put himself in the general out of general population into protective custody because people is going to exploit him and put his life on the line. It's their job to get money up out of this man. I mean, people have turned, white boys, they use white boys and they turn them gay and homosexuals and everything, all not because they like being gay and stuff, but it's all a plot deployed to make this white boy buy and pay for protection. A lot of times they would do the whole setup on a white boy, never intending to hurt the boy in no kind of way, but threatening him and making him think that you're going to do this until you call your mom or somebody to send some money in there, and knowing that Puff Daddy is one of the richest men in the world, knowing that he's one of the richest men in the world, they know that money is constantly coming. And it is really, they don't really care about Puff Daddy in jail. Those guys ain't in there. In a minute, after a while, you're going to hear about people trying to do things to Puffy because if for no other reason that this man has millions of dollars, he has billions of dollars and he's suing for $1 billion, so with all that type of propaganda being, thrown across the airwaves. That those types of things are making Puffy a marked man inside of that penitentiary. And the things that I'm talking about are things that are going to evolve just based off of him being who he is, the nature of the case, which are sexual deviant cases. People don't take well to those type of charges in jail. You know, so he should be in protective custody just off the strength of who he is. If he's not in protective custody, then he don't begin to start looking forward to checking himself into that. He's already received death threats and life has been threatened, so we have heard. So Puffy really needs to either need to take care of the Rock or to go and assign himself in a protective custody, because all of this money amongst all of those strong, masculine, all that testosterone, and they broke and hungry, is enough to make a Puff Daddy a target just alone. So really, there's people looking for reason to do something to exploit Puffy for large sums of money inside of the prison and the penitentiary. So back to 50 Cent. Well, 50 Cent want to really, really stop this problem, the energy that they already got Puff Daddy. Puff Daddy has already been charged. And those sex acts and all of that stuff, which was the majority of the bulk of the video, right? And things that he like beat up women and stuff like that. And, all of those types of things. I don't think Puffy is going to ever be charged or recharged for those types of things. But what this video can open up is a can of worms for the Puffy and Tupac ongoing investigation, because this investigation is ongoing. That is one of the cans of worms that could take place. From the one of the ramifications of 50 Cent making this type of video. So there's a lot of different things a lot of different cans of worms that these current events can open up for in the future. You know, what else is going on with that case? Yeah, all the monies and stuff. You know, and then you got Clive Davis. Like I said, 50 need to be going all the way up that chain to Clive Davis. Y'all got to understand that Clive Davis has had a long history in America of doing wicked and evil stuff and getting away with it. It started with the payola thing, back in 1972, where this guy stealing all this artist money, not paying them their royalties. So to the point to where TLC, I remember TLC them took a gun up to the office and to threaten and kill him. But back in 70 and 72, you got what's called payola. Payola is where the natural talent of a thing and the integrity of a thing is something that's just a non-reality. And you just pretty much do as told or instructed or programmed. So yeah, this whole Puffy thing is just it's crazy because I think that he should not be attacked by 50 Cent. 50 Cent should go all the way up the chain. The judge has ordered that don't nobody else get caught up in the Puffy's case, and they didn't. Puffy's doing time for that. Ain't nobody get caught up in that case. But what this video should be able to do, that if any foul play is suspected, that they should be able to open up new investigations based off of new information that is coming forth. These are new investigations connected to totally new and different cases, meaning that Puffy can catch another case inside of the penitentiary, especially everybody has pinpointed the Tupac and Biggie murders back to Puff Daddy. Everybody's been long pinpointed that. You know, so it that can only just open that up more. The picture has been painted clearly to me. It all makes sense. It all makes sense that Puffy is doing what he was groomed by Clive Davis to do all these crimes. Back in '72, back with the payola thing that I was beginning to talk about. That's something like whereas what it's supposed to be is that anybody in the world who makes a record, you take that record down to the radio station, and the radio station should allow room where this record can be played, and they don't do that no more. Yeah, but yeah, this whole Puff Daddy thing, man, and 50 Cent thing, man. Like I said, with the Tupac thing, that thing could open up something really, really, really bad in that area. That's the only thing I think that, as far as being recharged, I think that he can be. He was never charged to begin with. I think that this can open up new charges, and that's the only thing in there. Being that it is still an investigation going, an ongoing investigation, I think that those are great areas to tread lightly upon, and not tread lightly upon it is the ramifications of what can happen as a result of 50 Cent authorizing and endorsing this latest documentary. You know, but far as what happened to the ladies and all of that stuff, he's been charged with those things, and I don't think that those things are going to be reopened. I think that they're going to open new cases based off of things that the Western world, have ignored. Yep. So yeah, this Puff Daddy thing, man, is groundbreaking. I mean, I just can't begin to describe, some of the dangers, that is going. The entire entertainment industry is threatened behind this. The reality of it, anyway. The reality of it is that we all thought that we were making money based off of our talent. With this payola thing in '72, Clive Davis, he was. Here you talk about drugs and cocaine. Clive Davis had very strong connections with the street and drugs, and his artists and things like that. People that were responsible, were accountable for getting checks and compensation from Clive Davis. Clive Davis was said and alleged to have not paid none of these people no money and paid them all in drugs, including radio disc jockeys. Like I was trying to say a little earlier, anybody should be able to present a record and send this record on down to the radio station. And they should have a little area like a slam it or jam it area where they play the local music and the people, get to decide whether this is a go or a no, you know. And that's how the music industry is supposed to be. They play this record and then the people start calling and blowing up the lines like, who made this? Who is this? Who is that? You know, and America's not doing it like that anymore. That's because America want to lie, cheat, and steal her way on up to the top. Yeah. Yep. What time is it? It's going on 3:11. We've been on here 24 minutes. Yeah, so yeah, they just go to Clive Davis. Clive Davis, basically he has showed the world that he can do whatever he wants to do. He showed the world that he had done the most wicked and most despicable things. And he has gotten away with doing just that. Yeah. But that being stated, those are my feelings and my sentiments on what's going on with the 50 Cent and the Puff Daddy shenanigan. You know, that I think that that video can open up some new things in the future. You know, sure do. You know, and like I said, that's the reason why Puff Daddy is putting up the monies. You know, to fight. He's suing 50. You know, he shouldn't, but he shouldn't. He should keep that business to himself. So it's a lot going on with Puffy. You know, Puffy is doing a lot. And I hope that his mother don't get stressed out and pass out behind this, because you're looking at a woman that's probably in her high 80s, you know, maybe early 90s, you know, who knows? Yeah. But that being that, yeah, I just came over here to holler at y'all, throw a bug or two in y'all ear. As you can see, now I looked at the clock and started yarning. So I'm going to go on in here and take my butt on to sleep. Peace, you all. Glad to be over here talking to you all. And I'm going to come back over here tomorrow again, freestyle, cheek it. Hopefully, I can get some company up. But that being that, hey, I love each and every one of y'all up under the sound of my voice. And peace. I think tomorrow I'm going to come over here and talk about Judah Nazareth and Davion again. You know, and smack those guys around intellectually. Meet me over here tomorrow evening, y'all. Peace and love. I'm out.